Well, the boss of Tennis Australia is pushing for the sport's governing bodies to maintain inclusive rules when it comes to transgender players. Craig Tiley says the organisation believes in inclusivity, diversity and equality. It's always a topic that does spark debate. It was pointed out earlier that there are no pressing issues with any particular player who wants to make that transition. What do you think of it all?
Well, good morning, Carl. Thank you for having me. And let's just start by saying that Tennis Australia does a fantastic job in the inclusion space, whether it's with LGBTIQ plus athletes and the Glam Slam that they hold during the Australian Open, or with their disability athletes, as we've seen them have so much success over the last few years.
Sucking lemonade through that long straw turned out to be hard work.
Let's also say that I believe sport should always remain inclusive, but elite and professional sport should always remain fair. And the sports are going to have to grapple with this. We've seen a lot of world sports being taken down this path. The IOC in recent years putting it back on world sport governing bodies to decide what they believe is fair and right for their sport. And we've seen transgender athletes banned in world aquatics and world athletics. Tennis Australia will go in and advocate on their behalf on what they believe is right, but the final decision will come down to the International Tennis Federation and the WTA.
Okay, but what do you think of it? I mean, just biologically, from a strength point of view, for example, in the women's competition, if that happened, and what do professional athletes feel about it, and what are your thoughts on it?
Jarvis, there it is. Game over. 12-0, Wrexham defeats the U.S. women. And Wrexham just proved to be too tough for this team.
It's just science, eh?
Mind-blowing, isn't it?
The science, the performance, people will go away and look at this. And as you said, and the reports have been, there's no pressing issues in this space. So it's not a situation where, like we saw in recent times with the NBL and the basketball here in Victoria, where there is an athlete trying to make that push to play now. So the sport has time to go away and work out what is right for itself. And I think in the end, as long as they get that mix between, at that community grassroots level, being able to be inclusive and make people, or give people the opportunity to be able to play. But sport at a professional level needs to be fair. We have rules around performance-enhancing drugs and anti-doping. We already have things in place in sport that make sure we have a level playing field, and that should remain.
The Australian Open boss Craig Tiley wants transgender athletes playing at an elite level. So according to the Age, he's currently talking with the sports governing bodies, so that's the ITF and the WTA, to push them to maintain inclusive rules when it comes to transgender players. This, of course, is an issue that sports right around the world are grappling with, but tennis hasn't had to deal with it directly yet because there is no known transgender tennis player that is looking to play at an elite level, but they are getting ahead of the game. Now, under current rules, transgender players can play at an elite level in the women's tennis competition as long as their testosterone remains under a certain level. But it is being reported that the governing body is looking at different performance measures when it comes to playing an elite level for transgender athletes.
Please explain.
Tennis Australia boss Craig Tiley has affirmed his stance on transgender participation in the sport, saying inclusivity for all is essential for the global game. It's just science, eh?
Mind-blowing, isn't it?